You're listening to the EWN Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Bucket List Buster Travel Show. Your Bucket List Buster Travel Show helps you make your bucket list dreams come true. Host Karen Duncan spent decades running the travel business. She, along with other industry experts, share their knowledge, travel stories, and wisdom about how to travel, where to travel, and how to have a stress-free adventure. Tune in, give yourself permission to focus on yourself, create lifelong memories with families and friends, and finally learn to relax, rejuvenate, and reconnect. And here's the host of your show, Karen Duncan.
Aloha, buenos dias, ni hao, yahate, bula, guten tag, bonjour, jumbo, boa tarde, everything's Irie, and good afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Hello, my friends. Karen Duncan here, your Bucket List Buster. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It has been a fabulous week so far for me. I'm having a really great time. Today's show is about pickleball. Pickleball, you say? What's that? Well, it's one of the fastest growing sports in the country, and you better get on the wave. Plus, we have the top 20 happiest destinations on Earth. I think it's time for us to talk about that. We need some happiness this week for the things that are going on. I'm also going to talk to you about how we might help the Caribbean Tourism Organization support those Caribbean islands that are in need of our support. And then we're going to talk about what some of the hotels are doing to help us sleep better, of all things. You're going to be amazed at some of the trends in hotels assisting us getting better sleep, since they're in the business of us just sleeping there. It's pretty amazing stuff. And then we're going to give some kudos to one of our airline partners who has gone over and beyond trying to help San Juan, Puerto Rico get back on their feet, or just survive until we can do things to help them get back on their feet. Of course, we've got some great tips from our folks at the Wireless Traveler and some great promoters and supporters and sponsors this week. So this is Karen Duncan, your Bucket List Buster, and we're going to talk about what we can do to support our Caribbean brothers and sisters in what's been an outstanding, or not in a good way, hurricane season. So this is my thought for the week, is helping the Caribbean. Caribbean Tourism Board, which is an organization that's headquartered in Barbados, and then they have offices in New York and London, are collecting donations through the CTO, is what they call it, relief fund, for relief efforts in many of the countries affected by the hurricanes and assisting countries affected by the natural disasters. So there are 27 countries in the CTO, and they are the liaison with the ministries of tourism in these particular countries in the Caribbean. Some of the damage that was caused by the forces of the hurricanes is just an example of what we need to do to create a fund of financial relief for these countries. A lot of these countries are small. Tourism is their only industry, or a large part of their industry. And the people are suffering because they don't have the general basic needs that they should have. So this fund is going through the CTO, and they're going to channel the monetary assistance to the particular countries that need the money in an organized way. You know, I was kind of afraid to just start a GoFundMe page and then collect the money and then not know where to send it. And with this particular fund, we know that the Caribbean Tourism Organization is going to collect the funds, and then they'll distribute the funds to the countries that need it the most in the way that they need it and when they need it. The CTO appreciates all donations to assist in the recovery efforts of these countries. And like I said, they're headquartered in Barbados, New York, and London. I'm going to try and get CTO to come to Austin. I'm thinking about having a consumer trade show in March, and they would be here because they're a large part of what I do and who I work with and where I send my clients. So I want to make sure that they are represented here. And I want to be able to show our support as your bucket list buster, as listeners and people, the residents here in the Central Texas area. I want them to know who they are because that's where we travel in Texas. We travel to the countries that are within a 3-hour flight range, and most of the folks in the Caribbean are. But that's off the subject. But we want to make sure that the benefits go to the members of the organization in a specialized and support and technical assistance in sustainable tourism development, marketing, communication, advocacy, human resource development, event planning and execution, and research and information technology. So these are going to be the ways that the funds will be distributed, because all of this is terribly important. Without these infrastructures available for the Caribbean islands, then they no longer exist. And we all know how important our human lives are, how our technology, information technology, advocacy, all of that, communications, all of that is sincerely important when you're talking about an island who lives around the tourism industry. So for more information on the Caribbean Tourism Organization, you can go to www.one, that's spelled out ONE, Caribbean or Caribbean.org, ONECARIBBEAN.org. And there is a fund there. You can donate. Please take the time, just a little bit, $5, $10, any of that. It will be helpful in the relief efforts of the folks that we need to talk to. So we're going to take a really quick break. I know that was quick. And let me say that we were to have a speaker today from the Greater Austin PickleBall Club, but she had a family emergency that has taken her out of communication for a while. And so we want to make sure that we send up prayers for her. It's the executive director there, and hope that her family situation gets better very soon. But in the meantime, you've got to listen to me all day long. So this is Karen Duncan, your bucket list buster, and I will be back in a minute. Talk to you soon. Wine and culinary journey of Portugal. That's right. Your bucket list buster is headed to Portugal September the 3rd through September the 12th, 2018 with Sagres Vacations. We are going to do and have a fantastic time. This itinerary includes round-trip airfare from Boston, 8 nights accommodations in 4 hotels in Porto Douro and Lisbon, 12 meals including traditional lunches and picnic, Porto full-day city tour, boat trip from Pinoa to Tuawa, wine tour and tastings in 4 different wineries, Jeep and bike tours, Lisbon full-day city tour, all transfers to and from the airports and in between cities, and an English-speaking guide. This all will be included for a very small fraction of a price of $3,399 per person. Plus, you get to hang out with me, Karen Duncan, your bucket list buster, as we take this fantastic trip to Portugal, eating and drinking our way through the scenery and just having a great time checking off our bucket list. So join us on September the 3rd, 2018. For more information, please contact us at 512-252-8919 or send us an email at yourbucketlistbuster@gmail.com, and we will help you get registered.
Welcome back to the EWN Podcast Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Karen Duncan here, your bucket list buster. Let me tell you about a little thing that went on last night that I just think is absolutely fabulous. And we're talking about, in this segment, the happiest destinations on earth. according to the World Happiness Report. Well, I just happen to be in one of the happiest places on earth too, here in Pflugerville, Texas. Last night was National Neighborhood Watch Night, and I kind of live in a cul-de-sac on a little street here, and we've been in this neighborhood 7.5 years, and because our children were grown when we got here, we didn't have the connection through our children that you usually have when you move into a place. So it's taken us a little while to get into our neighbors. We know the folks on both sides of us, but we hadn't really hung out a whole lot with our neighbors. And earlier this year, I kind of initiated a day where, I think it was around Memorial Weekend, I'm not sure, where we got together as a neighbor. We in the cul-de-sac, and we got on one of the front yards, and we all brought food, and we just had a really good time. Well, last night we kind of did the same thing, and let me tell you, it rained all day yesterday. And I kept thinking, oh, this is just going to ruin our little get together. We had put signs up and the whole works, and it was supposed to start at 6. I had come to the conclusion that we probably weren't going to do the event, and was going to make plans to go to another standing meeting that I go to on Tuesday nights. And then all of a sudden, my husband goes to the store, and he calls me and he says, your friends are setting up outside. And I look outside, and they're setting up these tents and everything in the cul-de-sac. And sure enough, it stopped raining. They set up the barbecue pit and had sausages and sausage wraps, and folks brought vegetables and dip. And of course we had adult beverages and that kind of thing. But it turned out to be such a fantastic evening. And I finally went in about 8:30 or so, and they were still outside talking in the middle of the street. The police department came through. We had a couple candidates from that are running for our city council, and it just made for a really good evening. And during a time that we're looking at some of these catastrophes that are going on in the world, not just weather catastrophes, but mass shootings and things where people are misunderstanding one another because of the differences of our differences, or whatever the reason is that people are finding that they want to do these negative things and have negative impact on society right now. It was just very uplifting for me to see people of all different shades, ethnic backgrounds. We were brought up differently, but we came together last night, and it was a phenomenal evening. I had such a wonderful time. I want to give a shout out to my neighbors in Pflugerville. And for this great wine, I just have to say, Jerry and his wife gave me a Merlot that I'm just going to have to get the name of. But it was really a phenomenal evening, and I really appreciate my neighbors, and I hope we get to do this more often. Okay, so back to the show. So let's talk about the happiest destinations on earth. Where would you think it is? Norway. Why? You get to breathe fresh air. There's not a large, it's not overcrowded. There's lots of open spaces. People go outside a lot. The sun is shining a lot. There is just a very happy destination. And we need to all strive to make our destinations make this list. So I'm going to go through the list. So number 1 is Norway. Next is Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, Finland, the Netherlands, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Sweden, Israel, Costa Rica, Austria. The United States is number 14 out of 20. Ireland, Germany, Belgium, Luxembourg, United Kingdom, and number 20 on the list is Chile. So what are you going to do as a destination? I'm challenging everyone out there listening to challenge themselves and wherever they live to make the list of one of the happiest places and happiest destinations on earth. That's my challenge to all of us right now. If you do your part as an individual then you will spread the love to everybody else in your neighborhood, in your city.